Well, my experiences started when I was very young. I can remember as far back as 6 years old, being in my room, just going to bed, and then aware that there were 6 light shafts coming down through the ceiling and would stand around my bed and start turning into a human-like looking form.
A light shaft. Yeah. You familiar with the light shaft?
No, never happened to me. Maybe you were lucid dreaming.
But like a dark shaft. Are you familiar with those?
No comment.
Yo, this is on 60 Minutes, eh?
Yeah.
This is on 60 Minutes. That's kind of crazy.
This being rushed at me across the bed. She had a tool in her hand and she was performing some mysterious procedure on me.
What did it involve?
I wasn't allowed to lift my head, so all I could see was what I could see looking down across my face. And I saw the tool. I don't even want to know what she was doing. It was horrible. It was frightening, and it lasted a long time.
What if it was just a dream the whole time? Like, how do you know a dream versus, I guess you know a dream versus reality. But like, wouldn't you go to the doctors and be like, scan me?
Okay, here's the thing. I'd say that you know a dream versus reality, but I've also never been operated on by aliens. Like I don't know what that's like. Maybe you're in a dreamlike state.
Don't say that. Now they're coming for you. You're next.
Gotta just knocking on the wood here, guys. No aliens, please don't come after me. I promise you, my intestines, you don't want them.
Astronauts Eugene Curran and John Young heard something strange.
You hear that whistling sound? Sounds like, outer space-time music. Boy, that sure is weird music.
Didn't really sound like music. Sounded like there was like an air pocket.
Yeah.
Air whistling in.
Yeah, okay, I'll be honest, guys. The whole, science of space trips me the hell out. I don't understand it. I don't pretend to understand it, but I imagine that there was some sort of science that I also do not understand that was making sounds like that,
Yes.
Could be aliens, maybe, but I'm gonna go with science that I don't get.
Something to do with the craft that we don't understand how it's made.
Look, the whole street is stopped. There's a flying spaceship. Yo, look at that.
Whoa. Okay.
Look at everybody on the highway right now.
It kinda, yeah.
I don't know, bro.
It doesn't look like it's moving,
That's
though.
what I was gonna say. It was just pretty still.
Cause I thought right off the top why I chuckled was cause I thought it was just an overhanging light.
That's what I thought too.
So everyone was like, oh my god, a spaceship! And then it wasn't moving, but
Could be like clouds blocking that part of it.
maybe, maybe, cause it was just sitting there,
Maybe
right?
it's just hovering. Maybe it's just hovering.
Maybe, okay, hold up. If that is a full up spaceship, maybe it's fuller and that's kilometers away. And it's sucking somebody up right now,
Oh, maybe.
I don't know, I don't know why spaceships like to chill like that. I've never been on a spaceship, I hope. Yet. Yeah, they're coming. That's all right.
But white.
Oh, yeah,
oblongs,
we know this one.
Pentagon.
We know this
We
one.
know.
No apparent visible means of propulsion, and it was maneuvering in a way that we didn't recognize, that we couldn't classify, we couldn't identify.
And what do you think it is, looking back?
Oh, I'm not qualified to make that analysis.
So she thinks it's aliens.
Okay, well I was gonna ask you, we've obviously both of us written about this probably extensively. We've talked about this many a time, for various different reasons.
Yes.
You are educated on this. What is your true Lindsay Ivan
This is
response?
good thing that you're asking me because I was going to say it. So when they say unidentified flying object, it doesn't mean that it's a spacecraft. They
That's
just
right.
don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Everyone automatically assumes
Aliens.
that it's an alien, or a flying saucer. It literally could just be someone from a different country sending over something they don't know what it is.
Yeah, we don't know. Basically what they're saying is it's weird. It is weird, but we don't know what it is, and we're not gonna claim to say that it's going to be aliens. Just because we don't know what it is means that it's that.
Yeah.
It's
just unidentified. It doesn't mean it's a flying saucer.
Yeah, it's just we have no idea, guys. We're not sure.
Yep. Literally.
This is.
You've seen these ones too?
Social media. It was shot by a
I've
U.S. military pilot who was flying over the South China Sea.
That's weird.
It was filmed on the 24th of November. It just came out last week. Pilot was a 39,000, not far off the coast of Hong Kong, when he's seen this out the window. 3 sets of 4 lights flying above the clouds in unison. You can see some of them dim at random periods, but appear to keep the same pace and speed as one another. Not clear what it is. The video, though, comes at the end of a year that has seen the UFO phenomenon gain widespread.
Do you think there's like 3 different sets?
See, I don't know
Like
about this
one
one. Like,
big.
this is because, like, this truly does, in my opinion, defy any spacecraft that we are familiar with. Like, it doesn't look like anything that could be something that we
Doesn't look
already
like
have.
any plane or anything.
That's
like
what I
that.
mean, you know. So it's like I don't really understand. Like at one point, I was thinking, well, is it like a flock of different birds or animals that like light is reflecting on in such a way? But they're moving in such unison that it's like it can't possibly
but it's like,
be that.
It's 3 of them, but it's like 4 light things that
That's
we're
the
seeing.
thing. Yeah.
So
I have no idea. Like if it's 3 separate things, if it's one entire entity, if it's just like an optical illusion or shit.
I
But
personally don't know. Light reflecting off of.
refract. I wish I paid more attention
Refraction.
in grade 10 light refraction science
I
thing.
hated that.
Oh, I was so bad. I was so bad
I
at
didn't
it.
understand it at
No,
all.
that was one of my worst classes,
The
guys.
concave and the.
Yeah, for real. You know, I was like, what the hell? Doing equations and bleh.
No thanks.
Nope.
Anyway, so now we're actors.
Whoa.
There's 2 types that I see. One type is about 3 feet tall, very dark, very ugly.
Little guys.
Not humanoid at all. The others are very, very tall.
Who's this woman again?
Lizard-looking.
Lizard. Oh, I've heard about
Not
lizard
pleasant.
people. Mark Zuckerberg.
The creatures that I have seen mostly have been the grays.
And when I say tall, I'm not talking 6 feet. I'm talking very tall, like 10 feet tall.
Usually about 3 to 4 foot tall. Real big.
Wow. So we got lizard people
Uh-huh.
who. Have you heard the theory that Mark Zuckerberg is a lizard person because he doesn't blink? He like literally does not
I
blink.
can't say I've heard that one
And he
before,
literally
no.
looks like a lizard person. You gotta Google it. It's really funny.
Mark Zuckerberg lizard?
Yeah, lizard
Okay,
person.
cool. Is he like, what is he, like a bearded dragon? Or
No,
just like
that's not how it works.
Iguana? Or like
Yes,
what
he's
sort
an
of?
iguana.
Okay.
And then we got little tiny aliens, which wouldn't that be cute? And if they come
Yeah.
closer, you could just like knee them. You know?
That'd be like a nice little like pet. You know, like,
I don't
you know,
want a pet.
just like a little
alien guy.
take him on walks and stuff. It'd be so cute.
Maybe for you.
Astronauts left planet Earth Friday morning. Part of the Falcon 9 rocket separates from the Dragon. That's when some kind of object flies between the two. Take a closer look in slow motion.
hell is that?
Did it go right
What
through it?
exactly was
no.
that object seen early in the flight?
What the
Like
hell
a
is it? Just
meteor?
like a ball, like a bowling ball little thing, you know?
Asteroid? You're like bowling ball. I'm like, it's probably like a rock. But
Well-
like a space rock. Space jump.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, it could very easily be that. You know, like it is. Like that's actually wildly lucky if you think about it. That it, like it
Yes.
just, you know, because how easily could have it just, you know, boom.
And it was going pretty fast too.
It looked like, yeah, like at least would have dented this thing. Like if
Yeah.
not, maybe like totally annihilated it. I don't even know.
I don't know.
Space is mess, dude. It's just like there's like just like flying all over.
Everywhere.
You know, it's like how do you even know about these things? Got to be on constant alert. I couldn't go to space.
No, me neither. No thanks.
There's a monolith there, a very unusual structure on this little potato-shaped object that goes around Mars once in 7 hours. When people find out about that, they're going to say, who put that there? Who put that there? Well, the universe put it there. If you choose, God put it there. Maybe.
I've never heard Buzz
I've
Aldrin
never
talk.
heard that.
I've never heard him talk before.
No, me either.
So this was kind of fascinating.
This is neat. This is cool. I mean, like, obviously well respected. Like, I appreciate what you have to say. He's talking about something floating around Mars.
Yeah.
You know, the universe put it there. A big rock thing, maybe.
What
I don't
was
know.
it? I don't even know what
That's
it
the
was.
thing. Yeah,
though.
like I was
seen
like,
an image of it.
like the first like 5 to 10 seconds of that clip, I was like, Buzz Aldrin. Oh yeah, I know you. You know? And then I was like, wait, what are you talking about? Like,
I was like, wow, his voice is very calming.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, I gotta
yeah.
pay attention to what he's actually saying.
yeah.
Glad that we're on the same page here.
I'm going to ask you this. Imagine looking out your window and seeing this. This happened.
What is that, y'all? We finna die. Oh my God. What is that? What the f
is that?
that?
What was that?
What the f is that?
What was shooting
What
out
the
of it? Whoa, okay, that's a little suspicious.
That's a
Oh
little
my god,
suspect.
y'all, what the crazy?
That's a little suspect right
No,
there.
dude, that's
Just gone.
Okay, that is actually crazy.
It's a little suspect.
We're testing this.
That's a little suspect. I think I saw there too is New Orleans. That was New Orleans. Or no, New Questions. Okay, damn it. Damn. Okay.
Something was like flat, like.
Yeah, that's full up suspect for sure, man. Like again, one of those things where it's like, you know, I'm gonna say like UFO, unidentified flying object.
Yeah.
Because like I just have no idea. Like, could that have been aliens potentially? I guess. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know
it
what the
looks
hell
like
is.
it. It looks like the stereotypical thing that we see in movies.
That's
So.
the thing, yeah.
And it looked like it sucked something up and then just disappeared. Unless they're good animators.
I don't want to get sucked up, dude.
Yeah, no,
I don't
no
want to get
thanks.
sucked.
And what I remember is that through my wall came some beings around my bed, and I ran between them and ran out of the room into my mother's room to hide from them. And what happened is they followed me in there, and that's the last I remember of it. However, it's interesting because after that, I never told anybody about that, and I just buried it in the back of my mind. And me and my brother, we never even spoke about it until the last few years.
Why, Randy?
Wow.
Like, I mean, I never know. I never know. You know, like if you are actually, it's so polarizing, guys, because let's face it, most of the time when you hear stuff like this, it's probably not true. But if there is even a 1% chance that what she's saying actually full up all of that went down, then like imagine how she must feel right now.
Yeah, and she didn't talk about it for years.
Yeah, because it's like literally me and you, like people like me and you are
Yeah.
just like, well, that's like probably not true, you know?
Exactly, but what if she actually is
But
telling the
if
truth?
it actually is, and everything she says actually happened, it's like,
well,
jeez.
we got aliens coming in and abducting people in their sleep.
New Canadian telescope, nicknamed CHIME in Western Canada, has monitored repeating radio frequencies from deep space that are believed not to be made by human life.
Ooh.
As we now know, signals hitting Earth from outer space aren't new. Sometimes they're from a forgotten Russian satellite probe. What's strange about this set of chimes is the fact that they repeat on a schedule. A tone, heard here for 4 days straight, pulsing, then silence for 12 days. Then the sequence starts again.
I'm just so happy that we got to the final point and I got to hear my first space sound. I heard the aliens. Those were aliens. You can't tell me otherwise. They're talking. They're not saying anything nice. That's all I'm going to say. Like I said, other life forms in the universe, if there are any, don't want to deal with us. We are the worst of the worst. Kardashians of space. Although they're not that bad anymore.
Researchers say it originated from a dwarf galaxy just 2 billion light years away. The signal was received by means of 15 powerful radio pulses, and its cause is completely unknown. Some believe that these signals could be emitted by a black hole or rotating neutron stars, which emit extremely strong magnetic fields, though this is all just speculation. Another theory is obviously that these frequencies could be from alien spacecraft. The signals were received by members of the Breakthrough Listen Project, which is a small organization dedicated to finding signs of intelligent alien life, led by Stephen Hawking and backed by a $100 million investment from Stephen Hawking himself.
Okay, well, I've got nothing to go off of other than the guy telling me about the sounds that could be originating from a black hole, which is terrifying because I hate black holes more than anything. My biggest fear is that a black hole, and it's not entirely impossible, could just form and suck Earth right on into it. We'd all be spaghetti.
The signal was captured on their Big Ear radio telescope. The telescope at the time was being used to search for any possible evidence of extraterrestrial life. Ordinarily, those researching the printout of extraterrestrial signals saw nothing but random 1s and 2s, with a few 4s and 3s mixed in, all mostly from random space activity. But the WOW signal consisted of 6 EQUJ5. What the signal means is anyone's guess. It happened only once, and it went on for an entire 72 seconds. The researcher was so impressed by the signal and so shocked when he discovered it that he circled it and wrote, "Wow!" exclamation point.
I have heard of the wow signal. I would love to hear the wow signal, but at this point, I'm not getting my hopes up. I don't think I'll ever hear a signal from space. I also don't, am I supposed to know what it means by 1, 2, 3, 4? They're like, there's lots of ones, there's twos, there's some 6 and 7s in there. What are you meaning? What does that mean? Is that a music thing? Is that a sound thing? Do you know? I know how to count. I'm familiar with that. But they're like, oh, it's made up of 1s and 2s. What does that mean? What's made up of 1s and 2s? Doesn't make sense. Or is this a common thing and I'm just stupid?
FRB, or Fast Radio Burst, titled FRB 150215, was received from outside of our galaxy on February 15th, 2015, and it's only the 22nd cosmic signal of its kind. However, even though 2 years have passed since its reception, experts are still no closer to finding out what actually caused it. An obvious first assumption by many is that it could be signs of alien life, and according to Harvard University researchers, the signal could be coming from some sort of alien ship, or some sort of advanced alien technology.
Okay, the lack of alien noises is quite bothersome. All I'm hearing is a guy describe these things to me. I want to hear the sounds from space. Don't give me the guy describing the sounds from space. Where are the sounds from space? Anyway, he's saying this sound that I will never listen to is the 22nd cosmic sound ever recorded. That's pretty sick, you know?
It actually comes from a relatively close cluster of stars. Supposedly, the signal was described by astronomers and scientists as being a very strong signal, quote unquote. And it appears to have been sent from a star inside a nearby constellation. The constellation is known as Hercules, and the star is known as HD 164595. The most interesting aspect of the star is that it only sits about 95 light years away. In theory, a human could travel that far in their lifetime if they were sent into space as a baby. Even more interesting is that according to the article posted by The Independent, the star is almost the exact size as our planet.
This is... Okay, space is just... I hate it. I really dislike it more than anything. I wish it wasn't real. But then we wouldn't be real. First of all, a signal came from a star. The star is something light years away, and they're like, not that far. But you can only get there in your lifetime if you go from a baby, if you're sent there as a baby, and then you'll eventually get there right when you die. Sick. So if you want to visit this star, you can. It's also the size of our Earth. I don't want that. I don't want any part of that. I don't want to be involved in space. The fact that I'm reacting to this video is quite upsetting.
Astronomers detected mysterious signals from a distant galaxy. These mysterious signals were picked up in Canada by a super strong telescope. But the problem is, nobody knows the origin or the nature of these mysterious radio wave blasts. There were exactly 13 quick radial bursts, known in the industry as FRBs, or fast radio bursts, and each burst was coming from the exact same source. How far away was this source? It was roughly 1.5 billion light years away from Earth. This is one of those events that only happens once in a blue moon. In fact, this exact type of incident has only happened one previous time.
Wow. I lost my train of thought during that. But Canada discovered something that only happens once in a blue moon and has only happened once in our lifetime. And what happened, I can't quite remember what he just told me. I really do have bad attention span, but I didn't hear any space noises. I'm starting to think that NASA just don't even release them. That's what I'm gonna go with. Maybe they just never want us to hear the space noises because they're not real. Maybe it's because we're not even in space. Oh, it's because it's a simulation.
Sample the Parkes Radio Telescope in Australia, which captured BLC-1, the signal from Proxima Centauri. It's not just the closest star to our solar system. There are 2 exoplanets orbiting it, one of which is Proxima b, which is in the so-called habitable zone, which means it's potentially suitable for life. So we could get that radio signal from a technologically advanced civilization from a neighboring star system.
Whoa, that's pretty cool. There's a neighboring star system, could be civilization. We could live there. Why aren't we living there? Let's all move to Proxima Centauri. Centauri. I'm gonna move to Proxima Centauri. You wanna go there, Chris? I'll bring Slash, my husband. Mr. Slash, Mr. and Mrs. Slash. I'll be his guitar.
121102. As we saw from the Chime telescope in Canada, FRBs, or fast radio bursts, are still a long way away from being understood by humans today. A burst known as FRB 121102, a burst being sent from a small galaxy about 3 billion light-years away, was repeated and intercepted by instruments on Earth 93 times in a single day in August 2017. Scientists concluded that one event could not produce radio signals for that long, that something or someone had to be controlling it.
That's creepy. A ton of signals coming from space. And not one event could have caused it. It had to be something or someone. I like that. Dun dun dun. Aliens, for sure. What creates these noises? I honestly thought, I don't know. I really know very little about science and space, but I just thought sounds couldn't have. What causes sounds? The idea, oh my god, like what if you're in space and you're right next to Saturn, Saturn's rings? It's just fucking rocks flying around there. You think that makes noise? Bet it makes noise when it kills you.
In 1979 in Siberia, a meteorite hit Earth carrying a strange payload, never before seen by humans. It was a rare metal formation called a quasi-crystal, which features 60 points of rotational symmetry made of aluminum, copper, and iron, not found to occur in nature on Earth. Some space authors believe that this meteorite was sent by an advanced set of beings trying to teach humans the ways to master technology and materials not yet discovered by man.
Whoa, that's kind of trippy. A meteorite hit Siberia, and it was made up of things we don't have on Earth. Well, that would kind of make sense, right? There's other planets for a reason. They're not made up of what we're made up of, right? Or am I stupid? I don't know. I don't know science. Okay, whatever. He thinks it's life, other life in space, sending these things to us to teach us, to advance. That does not seem right. I don't think anyone, if there's things in space, they don't like us. I don't think they're gonna send us goods to be like, here, we're gonna help you. They're gonna be like, here's a meteorite, I want you to explode. You know, that's what I'm thinking. Should have sent an asteroid. One day.
A mysterious radio signal is received by the SETI project on 3 different occasions. In February 2003, astronomers with the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, the SETI project, used a massive telescope in Puerto Rico to re-examine 200 sections of the sky, which had all previously yielded unexplained radio signals. These signals had all disappeared except for one, which had become stronger. The signal, widely thought to be the best candidate for alien life, comes from a spot between the constellations Pisces and Aries, where there are no obvious stars or planets. Curiously, the signal is at one of the frequencies that hydrogen, the most common element, absorbs and emits energy. Some astronomers believe that this is a very likely frequency at which aliens wishing to be noticed would transmit. Whenever things are backed by science, I'm ready. I'm like, ooh, really? Are we curious? What's happening? But I'm pretty sure this was debunked. There's an article that's been showing up on my newsfeed about other signals happening that are kind of propelling these questions about whether aliens are actually trying to interact with us. So, who knows? That would be so nuts, though. That would really be so amazing that people on the other side of the universe, people, them, they, whatever, are just as curious about communicating with us. Well-known encounters. Barney and Betty Hill's abduction. The Hills above claim that in 1961, a bright light swooped over their car on a New Hampshire road, and that they woke up a few hours later and that the car had been magnetized. With regressive hypnosis, both were able to recall being abducted and probed by the little gray man, which soon became the de facto alien description. Foo Fighters! In the middle of World War II, things took a mysterious turn for Air Force pilots flying overnight missions. They reported seeing lights chasing their aircraft. The number varied, sometimes it was 1, other times it was 10, and so did the colors, red, orange, and green. But the unidentified objects shared in common that they moved very fast, up to 200 miles per hour, wow, yet could dart on a dime. These pilots, among the best in the world, admitted the objects generally flew circles around them. Well, it doesn't sound like that's technology from like Germany or Russia, because they definitely would have exploited that at the time, because they were losing. Well, actually, they weren't losing for a bit; they were winning, and then we got that upper hand, and then they just could never get it back. But that's a very simplistic description of World War II. Elon Musk. Musk is hell-bent on using his $21 billion to colonize Mars. I support that. His company, SpaceX, has been trying desperately to reduce the cost of space travel in the hopes of beginning a million-person colonization of Mars. Quote, if we're not in a simulation, then maybe we're in a lab and there's some advanced alien civilization that's just watching how we develop out of curiosity, like mold in a petri dish, says Musk. Jeff Bezos, his company Blue Origin is competing with Elon Musk's SpaceX to launch reusable rockets and comically rich tourists into space. You know what? Whoever gets there first, amazing. I kind of am rooting for Musk though, because I like how he's trying to make it cheaper and not just like another privilege that the rich get. There should never be that many rich people. Like, just help out, man. I mean, I like what they're doing. I mean, I like what Musk is doing. I'm not a huge fan of Bezos, to be fair. He knows now. Sorry. There is documentation. In 2012, the photographer Stephen Kirst asked UFO convention attendees who claimed to have had personal contact with extraterrestrials to draw and describe their experiences. Camille, a beam of solid blue light came through her ceiling and transported her onto a table where she was surrounded by beings in white robes with high collars. Rita said she has been visited by a golden reptilian alien throughout her life. Are the Scientologists right? We don't know! Are the Thetans real? Who knows? The thing that blows my mind about this is that how did these images come about? Like, how? Why is this something that people are thinking about all the time? And why do these images keep popping up? And I mean, it could be that once one person made it up, a whole bunch of others copied it, or it was instilled in our brains. So the only way our imagination can picture aliens is that like bulbous Paul looking dude with a Seth Rogen voice. At least that's how I picture aliens. The red tinge of Jupiter's moon Europa. Alien microbes might be behind Europa's red tinge, suggested NASA researchers in 2001. Though the surface is mostly ice, data shows it reflects infrared radiation in an odd manner. That suggests that something, magnesium salt perhaps, are binding it together, but no one has been able to come up with the right combination of compounds to make sense of the data. Intriguingly, the infrared spectra of some earthly bacteria, those that thrive in extreme conditions, fits the data at least as well as magnesium salts. Plus, some are red and brown in color, perhaps explaining the moon's ruddy complexion. Though bacteria might find it difficult to survive in the scant atmosphere and minus 170 degrees Celsius surface temperature of Europa, they might survive in warmer liquid interior. Geological activity could then spew them out periodically to be flash frozen on the surface. Science rules! I don't know. That sounds very similar to a case that's on Venus right now, or that they're actually going to be sending a probe to Venus to figure out, because they found hints of anaerobic bacteria through the they found evidence of phosphine, which is something that a specific kind of bacteria also emits, and they survive extreme conditions. So they think that maybe they also exist on Venus, which would actually be a sign of life. 1996, Martian. 1996, Martian fossils are discovered in meteorite ALHA4001 from Antarctica. NASA scientists controversially announced in 1996 that they had found what appeared to be fossilized microbes in a potato-shaped lump of Martian rock. The meteorite was probably blasted off the surface of Mars in a collision and wandered the solar system for about 15 million years before plummeting to Antarctica, which is where it was discovered in 1984. Careful analysis revealed that the rock contained organic molecules and tiny specks of the mineral magnetite, sometimes found in Earth bacteria. Under the electron microscope, NASA researchers also claim to have spotted signs of nanobacteria. But since then, much of the evidence has been challenged, rightly so. Other experts have suggested that the particles of magnetite were not so similar to those found in bacteria after all, and that the contaminants from Earth are the source of the organic molecules. Interesting. A 2003 study also showed how crystals that resemble nanobacteria could be grown in the laboratory by chemical processes. Very interesting. Again, if it's backed by scientists, I'm willing to support it. There was a time when I wish I could have been a scientist, but it no longer clicked, sadly, but it blows my mind to read about it and listen to it, and I think it's fantastic. So, in terms of this one, I don't think these are Martian fossils. I actually do kind of side with the belief that it's organic material that interacted with the meteorite, it's not bacteria brought to Earth by the meteorite. The unexplained extraterrestrial WOW signal is detected by Ohio State University radio telescope. In August 1977, an Ohio State University radio telescope detected an unusual pulse of radiation from somewhere near the constellation Sagittarius. The 37-second long signal was so startling that an astronomer monitoring the data scrawled "WOW" on the telescope's printout. That's cute. The signal was within the band of radio frequencies where transmissions are internationally banned on Earth. Furthermore, natural sources of radiation from space usually cover a wide range of frequencies. As the nearest star in that direction is 220 million light years away, either a massive astronomical event or intelligent aliens with a very powerful transmitter would have had to have created it. The signal remains unexplained. Creepy. I mean, realistically, it's the massive astronomical event because things like supernovas and even dwarf stars can emit really strong signals throughout the galaxy when they do the thing. So, I don't know. 1976, the Viking Mars landers detect chemical signatures indicative of life. Tests performed on Martian soil samples by NASA's Viking landers hinted at chemical evidence of life. I love the title, Viking landers. Nice. One experiment mixed soil with radioactive carbon-labeled nutrients and then tested for the production of radioactive methane gas. The test reported a positive result. The production of radioactive methane suggested that something in the soil was metabolizing the nutrients and producing radioactive gas. That's very interesting. But other experiments on board failed to find any evidence of life, so NASA declared the result as a false positive. Despite that, one of the original scientists and others who have since reanalyzed the data still stand by the finding. They argue that the other experiments on board were ill-equipped to search for evidence of the organic molecules, a key indicator of life. We still have so much to discover about Mars, and it looks like in the next few decades, not next few decades, but probably like 40, 50 years, 60 years even, we might actually even make a trip out there. I know we're going to the moon in about 2 years, and if that goes well, if that goes long term, then we're going to Mars. So, I think we're gonna find out a lot more when we're actually on Mars and we actually got boots on the soil so that we can perform experiments there. So I don't know. Like all of it's so much of it's speculation, and like I just want somebody to say, yes, it's aliens. Yes, it is, instead of just living in this realm of maybe? You know, I just want to know. I want to know. Harry Reid says we're not taking them seriously enough. You're not taking me seriously enough! Imagine yelling that at a person. Quote, I'm glad the Pentagon is finally releasing this footage, but it only scratches the surface of research and materials available, unquote. Tweeted Reid, the former Senate Majority Leader. Quote, the U.S. needs to take a serious scientific look at this and any potential national security implications. The American people deserve to be informed, unquote. For Reid, who served in the Senate from Nevada for 3 decades and led his party in the chamber for 12 years before retiring in 2017, the footage, which was compiled by a group funded by Tom DeLonge, a founding member of the pop-punk group Blink-182. Cool. Is simply a confirmation of what he has long believed and advocated for in the halls of Congress. We may not be alone. I agree with you, Harry Reid. I think maybe now we're starting to take things seriously, but should have happened a lot sooner. Maybe we would have discovered something sooner if we weren't just like sleeping and brushing off all these allegations as like hillbilly nonsense. I don't know, maybe. But then again, there's a lot of hillbilly nonsense. There's just been a lot of weird things. And I think it's important that we do look into them, which I feel like is going to bring us to number 1. Government literally just admitted it's taking you. I love when number 2 is like, take me seriously. Number 1 is, government literally just admitted it's taking UFOs seriously. A 2004 encounter near San Diego between 2 Navy FA-18F fighter jets and an unknown object. In 1952, a CIA group called the Psychological Strategy Board concluded that when it came to UFOs, the American public was dangerously gullible and prone to hysterical mass behavior. Side note, which is probably why the American people, or just humanity, is not ready to know. Like, maybe we know. Maybe there are people higher up who know and are holding onto the information because they have to slowly acclimatize the public to this idea, because otherwise there will be hysterics. People will lose their minds. So many questions, especially around like religion, are gonna happen, and nobody's gonna be able to handle it unless it's like slowly seep through the cracks and we acclimatize ourselves to the idea that aliens are actually here. So that's a potential idea. The group recommended debunking campaigns to tamper the public's interest in unexplained phenomenon. But the government seems to have been interested too. Pentagon confirmed the existence of the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. Created in 2007 by Senators Ted Stevens, who reported being chased by a mysterious object, Daniel Inouye, and then Majority Leader Harry Reid, and funded with $22 million of black money from the Department of Defense's budget. The program investigated and evaluated reports of UFO sightings, many of which came from American service members. Oh, okay, I see. So they're only taking people they deem as sane. Like, they're only taking accounts from like people actually beside them, like their best friends in the Senate. They're like, oh, you did too? Cool. So it must be real. Let's fork over money that we don't know where it came from, but we're just gonna take it. Is that what black money is? It sounds like a black card. You know what I mean? Just do what you need to do.
Number 1, Chinese astronaut hears a knocking outside his spaceship. In 2003, Yang Luwei became the first Chinese astronaut to jettison into space. He was aboard the Shenzhou 5, one of the multiple Shenzhou voyages that would happen in years following. One silent, lonely night on October 16th, he heard a strange banging sound outside. As he described it, somebody knocking the body of the spaceship, just as knocking an iron bucket with a wooden hammer. Neither came from outside nor inside the spaceship. On subsequent Shenzhou 5 and 6 missions to space, 2 other Chinese astronauts heard the same knocking. That's definitely unsettling, especially if you're out in space, guys. Like, the only thing that I could think of, and I know absolutely nothing about space whatsoever, but the only thing that I could think of would be tiny little rocks that you just happen to be like passing through as you're floating through, you know, like a little debris or whatever. That's the only thing I could think of. But if it's like a very repeated like knocking sound, that would be strange for sure. That would, and there's not like you can talk to anybody either. Like, you're up there. If you're dealing with a space ghost or an alien, you're kind of screwed, man, because nobody's coming to help you. Apollo 10, astronauts hear alien music in their headphones. After 4 days shooting up to the Great Abyss, American astronauts Tom Stafford, Gene Cernan, and John Young were on the far side of the moon. It was 1969. While photographing craters and sipping grape juice, the 3 began to hear otherworldly, organized noise coming from their headsets. It happened for 1 full hour. Boy, that sure is weird music, Commander Cernan said. We're going to have to find out about that. Pilot Young replied, nobody will believe us. Huh, I did not realize this at all. So they heard weird music coming from their headsets. And it's not like you can have, again, I don't know, I'm not an astrophysicist or anything like that, but I don't imagine you can have any radio thing going through right now, like you're straight up in space. So whatever you're hearing, that's got to be coming from around you. Huh, interesting. I wonder if they had a little bit too much grape juice. I'm not sure. Number 3, Neil Armstrong's secret transmission to NASA. According to retired Chief of NASA Communications System Maurice Chatelain, writing in his book Our Cosmic Ancestors, published in 1975, only moments before Armstrong stepped down the ladder to set foot on the moon, 2 UFOs hovered overhead? Okay, I'm not sure. Edwin Aldrin took several photos of them. Some of these photographs have been published in the June 1975 issue of Modern People magazine. There were 2 minutes of radio silence after Armstrong set foot on the moon. NASA claimed one of the 2 television cameras overheated, disrupting the reception. These babies were huge, sir, enormous. Oh God, you wouldn't believe it. I'm telling you, there are other spacecraft out here lined up on the far side of the crater's edge. They're on the moon watching us. Neil kept his lips sealed tightly right up until his death in 2012, but enough credible people corroborate that in 1969 we not only landed on the moon, but on one of the most significant extraterrestrial encounters of all time. I'll be honest guys, I haven't heard too much about this story except for what I'm reading to you right now, but that seems like the coincidence of coincidences, if that was the case, that we happened to land the moon in one of the very few times that we have gone to the moon. We happened to get there at the exact time that several other extraterrestrial spaceships were also there and just leaving as we got there. That seems a little bit too good to be true, you know? And also too, Neil Armstrong apparently didn't even say anything about it, so I'm not sure. That seems like a little bit of a stretch to me, but comment down below what you think about that, guys. I don't know if I fully buy into that one. Number 4, Russian astronauts see something impossible according to physics. On May 5th, 1981, USSR hero cosmonaut Major General Vladimir Kovalnyuk was just finished doing some outer space exercising in the Salyut orbital space station when he looked out on a porthole. Traveling alongside the station, he witnessed something inexplicable. Kovalnyuk was openly expressive of what he saw, describing it at a Moscow press conference when he came back to Earth. Many cosmonauts have seen phenomena which are far beyond the experiences of Earthmen. For 10 years, I never spoke on such things. The encounter you asked me about happened on May 5th, 1981 at about 6 p.m. during the Salyut mission. At that time, we were over the area of South Africa, moving towards the area of the Indian Ocean. I just made some gymnastic exercises when I saw in front of me through a porthole an object which I could not explain. I saw this object and then something happened that I could not explain, something impossible according to the laws of physics. The object had this shape, elliptical and few with us. From a frontal view, it looked like it would rotate in flight direction. It only flew straight, but then a kind of explosion happened, very beautiful to watch, of golden light. This was the first part. Then 1 or 2 seconds later, a second explosion followed somewhere else and 2 spheres appeared, golden and very beautiful. After this explosion, I just saw white smoke, then a cloud-like sphere. Before we entered the darkness, we flew through the terminator, the twilight zone between day and night. We flew eastwards, and when we entered the darkness of the Earth's shadow, I could not see them any longer. The 2 spheres never returned. Interesting. So I'm assuming that the other people on this flight also corroborate this story, because he's saying that we flew eastwards, and obviously he wasn't by himself, but I would be interested to know if they felt the exact same way, they have no idea what this is, they don't know how to explain it. And maybe they did see something like that, which they just literally cannot explain. It could be extraterrestrials, it could be something else, maybe it's some sort of, I'm not sure, like spatial reaction of some kind that we're not aware of yet. I don't know, but I mean, if you're getting bright lights like that, I would also think extraterrestrials too. Number 5, American astronaut Leroy Chiao witnesses strange lights. In September, writing for Space.com, American astronaut Leroy Chiao noted that it would be the height of arrogance to believe we are alone. In 2005, he was commander of the International Space Station for 6.5 months. While installing antennas 230 miles above Earth, he witnessed something he has yet to understand. I saw some lights that seemed to be in line, and it was almost like an upside down check mark, he told the Huffington Post, and I saw them fly by and thought it was awfully strange. Some theorized those lights were simply those of a fishing boat hundreds of miles down, shooting upwards. Wait, let me read that again. Some theorized those lights were simply those of a fishing boat hundreds of miles down, shooting upwards. Interesting. So a fishing boat from Earth was catching this guy's eyes? Is that what people are theorizing? That seems a little bit That seems a little bit crazy to me. I find it hard to believe that a fishing boat would be able to do that, if I'm reading that correctly, guys. This whole thing about lights, I'm wondering if there is something like a law of physics that we don't fully understand about how space or maybe a dark matter that's in space manipulates light in a way that makes us see it differently. I'm theorizing right now, and again, I know nothing about space, so that's my theory. Number 6, Russian cosmonaut films UFO. Soviet Azerbaijani astronaut Musa Manorov spent 541 days in space during his career. That is a lot of time in space. One day in 1991 was different from all the rest. En route to the Mir space station, he caught a cigar-shaped UFO on camera. For 2 full minutes, he watched as it lit up at certain moments and spiraled through the cosmos. They say in space you can't tell whether something is up, close, or far away. Since you have no frame of reference, you can't tell the size of an object because there's nothing to compare it with. Interesting, you know what, that's something neat that I never really thought of, but of course that's the case because we have no frame of reference, you know? Something could be this close to me and I have no idea because there's nothing for me to compare it to at all because it's literally space. That's the coolest thing that I took away from that, guys. I've just never thought of that before, so very interesting. Number 7, space snakes. Oh my gosh, so we had snakes on a plane, guys. Remember, we're gonna have snakes on a rocket ship. That's gonna be the next big Samuel L. Jackson movie. Dr. Story Musgrave has 6 academic degrees, is a physician and mathematician, and was in the Marine Corps. He's also a NASA astronaut who shares the record with most space flights at 6. In 1994 interview, he told of his sighting. On 2 of my missions, and I still don't have an answer, I have seen a snake out there. 6, 7, 8 feet long. It's rubbery because it has internal waves in it, and it follows you for a rather long period of time. The more you fly in space, the more you see an incredible amount of things out there, and that sort of thing brings to you really a certainty that other living creatures are out there. When asked what exactly he believes is out there, Musgraves gave the answer: living creatures far more developed as civilizations. They've been around for 100 million years and we can't even conceive how advanced they are and the kinds of things they're doing. That's why I make an effort to communicate and might be considered eccentric because I do, because I know the probabilities are close to 0, but I do tell them to come down and get me. Wow, so my guy is playing the long game right now, respect. But the snakes, an 8 feet long space snake, that's really cool. I honestly want that to be true because I would love to have myself a beautiful pet space snake. I've never really been like a snake guy on Earth, but I feel like if it was out in space, that would be cool enough that I would be okay with having a space snake in my house, and he could just be like floating through my living room and stuff. That'd be pretty sweet. Number 8, Gordon Cooper's multiple sightings. Gordon Cooper was a cool-headed, soft-spoken Southern gentleman who has flown the Mercury 9 and the Gemini 5. He was the last American to spend time in space alone. He was also the recipient of more than one UFO sighting. In 1951, while flying with the Air Force, he and other pilots witnessed a vast armada of UFOs flying in formation at extremely high altitudes. This would be the first encounter of Cooper's. A decade later, in May of 1963, Cooper shot into space aboard a Mercury capsule for a circumnavigational trip around the world. On his final orbit, while passing over Perth, he noticed a glowing green object jolt towards him at a high rate of speed. The object was real, at least according to Mukia Tracking Station in Western Australia, which picked it up on radar. Cooper reported the incident to the National Broadcasting Company. When he landed, NBC reports told him they couldn't question him about the sighting. That's always what scares me, is when you can't get questioned, it's when we can't talk about it at all, because that means that the government, they're stepping in and they're going, we don't know what that thing was, and we don't want anyone else to know what that thing was. So that's definitely a little questionable. Number 9, something shiny on the moon. NASA astronaut Alan Bean claims he saw something shiny on the moon he described as shoe leather. Damn, I was really hoping that we were gonna have like moon diamonds or something, but that happened to go to shoe leather. I mean, shoe leather is not, I guess it's kind of shiny. I guess it kind of glimmers and stuff. But that'd be really cool if they have, like, you know, the moon has gemstones of some kind, you know, it's like a moon ruby or a moon sapphire. That'd probably be the most valuable, thing on Earth, actually, if you had something like that. So, kind of too bad that it's shoe leather. But also, too, I would love me some moon shoes, if we can get those. Number 10, a differently shaped UFO. When we think UFOs, we think disc-shaped flying saucers. Anything beyond our understanding is pretty much difficult to explain, as astronauts James McDivitt and Ed White came to realize. This happened when they were flying over Hawaii. They noticed a flying object that to them didn't seem like something from Earth, but this metallic object seemed to have arms sticking out of its body. Interesting. McDivitt described it as like a beer can or a pop can, and with a little thing that maybe like a pencil or something sticking out of it. Okay, I see that. He took a few photographs of it, but did not have time to properly set exposure or focus properly. He believes that since it was visible to him, it must have been in orbit close to that of a spacecraft, probably a piece of ice or multi-layer insulation that had broken off. Damn, you know what, I was really vibing with the explanation of, like, we got a beer can or a pop can with something like arms sticking out of it. Like, that'd be actually really cool. What if the alien, like, what if extraterrestrials are the ships? Like, what if they are like robots and stuff, and like that was just a person robot and he was flying through and that's what he saw? I'm not sure. Comment down below what you guys think.
This strange situation has been reported by Dr. Story Musgrave. The story is one of the most interesting about sightings in space. This retired NASA doctor claimed to have seen a white snake. Its length was about 2.44 meters. But what's even stranger is that he saw it floating in space. Some have asked him if it really was a snake or space pollution. For example, a hose that had come loose and started floating because of the lack of gravity. However, Dr. Musgrave is very confident about what he saw.
Okay, there's a doctor who went to space and he saw a snake. Literally, this is getting worse and worse for me because snakes are one of my biggest fears, right alongside spiders, snakes. Spiders, snakes, the ocean, space. All my biggest fears, and now they're all coming together in one location. I swear to God, if the next person's like, there's an ocean in space, I'm just crying. That's over. Well, I guess there is an ocean in space because there's an ocean on our planet and that's in space. But imagine just floating in space, then a wave comes. But that doesn't happen. But how does space happen? Like, I say like a rogue wave can't come, but now I'm like, how are the planets here, you know? How's a planet here? How's it floating? Like gravity, we know gravity, but it does not make sense to me. Nothing makes sense about space. It's completely irrational.
Roughly 150 to 250 million light years away from our own Milky Way galaxy lies an anomaly known as the Great Attractor. A cute name like that betrays just how horrifying this thing is. Its massive gravitational pull is enough to send entire galaxies its way, where they then collapse upon themselves, and very likely we're on a collision course with it. Remember, nothing in space sits still, and that includes the Milky Way. Our galaxy zips through space at 1.3 million miles per hour, and because the Great Attractor is so gravitationally powerful, we are headed right toward it.
Chris, you're in for a treat, because you didn't hear what he just said. There is something called the Great Attractor. It attracts galaxies, as you would expect, except it destroys them. You get attracted into its little atmosphere, and then it crushes you. And guess what? Our galaxy, the Milky Way, heading right for it. So before you know it, we're just gonna go. It could happen now, like that's the thing. And this dude's like, we're always moving. Apparently we're moving right now. We don't even know. I feel like I'm standing still. But we're moving in space.
This story was told by Neil Armstrong, the famous astronaut who first stepped and walked on the moon.
Neil!
Despite being accused of being a fake visit to the moon, the story this astronaut told is fascinating. It happened on the famous Apollo 11 mission in 1969. After the lunar landing by Armstrong, NASA confirmed that he lost contact with the crew. This for about 2 minutes. However, NASA has revealed that it received secret messages from the astronaut. These describe a strange situation where there were 2 huge babies, something incredible to interpret. It was apparently another spacecraft that landed on the opposite side of the crater. From there, it seemed that they were watching the Earth.
Huh? I'm sorry, wait. That whole thing did not make sense to me. As soon as he said there were 2 huge babies, but then there was another spacecraft watching Earth, Whose spacecraft was that? The big babies? Who was the two huge babies? Where did the two big babies come from? I'm envisioning 2001: A Space Odyssey here. Which, did that come before or after the moon landing? If it came after the moon landing, then Neil, my man Neil, told Stanley Kubrick and was like, there's a big baby in space. And then he put the big baby in the movie, because there's a big baby at the end of 2001: A Space Odyssey. A giant baby in space.
Astronomers realized a few years ago that the star had been dying and coming back to life for months. They decided to look into it further. Typically, when a star dies, explosively, it will keep a nice bright glow that remains after the burst for around 100 days. This star, however, kept going for a full 600 days. That's not even the craziest part, though, because when they looked into it, they realized the star had been reported to die in 1954, and it kept dying and reviving ever since. It's a Frankenstein star.
Oh my god, this guy's voice, I can't deal with it. He thinks he's a comedic genius. It's a Frankenstein star. This star is literally just dying and coming back to life, dying and coming back to life. Like, respect to it, it's like a zombie. But just die at this point, just go. Like, I don't even know who you are. I don't know what star you are. I can't look in the sky and go, there you are, dying and coming back.
Eridanus supervoid, also known as the Great Void, is an entirely empty space in, well, space. The size alone, 500 million light years in diameter, makes it the largest thing to be discovered by NASA. To put it in perspective, imagine that you're sitting in an empty room, but there's no floor or walls or any sort of matter around forever. There's no escape. Is there an opposite of claustrophobic? Because that's the exact feeling this type of endlessness induces. The bizarre truth of the matter is, scientists have no idea how this void even happened.
This gives me so much anxiety. It reminds me of a black hole, but it's apparently not a black hole, it's a great void. I don't even want to think about it. It gives me so much... I can feel my heart beating faster than it already was, because I have one of those. Some people think I don't. I can't even picture just being in, like, amongst nothing. Chris, imagine darkness, just black around you everywhere. There's no floor, ceiling, walls, just you floating by yourself. Black. No matter, just you.
Brit, our very own sun. Occasionally, the sun emits gigantic solar flares that can generate cosmic solar storms. These storms cause catastrophic levels of UV radiation and energy to hurtle hundreds of millions of miles from the sun's surface in a matter of seconds. If any of these storms come Earth's way, the radiation and energy would likely be enough to disable and destroy all things electric. Goodbye internet, GPS, TV, and artificial lighting of any kind. We would instantly be plunged back into pre-technological times, relying on whatever heat and light Earth decides to provide for us and nothing more. It would likely take years to recover, and the cost would be trillions of dollars.
Honestly, I think we need something like this to happen to the Earth. Just like the sun to blast, wipe all electronics and technology off the face of the Earth. We start from the beginning, cavemen, and then we go from there, because we kind of suck at the moment with everything. We are kind of the worst. It's like the show Revolution. That was the whole purpose. Got cancelled after season 1 though.
Terrifying vortexes, straight out of the interstellar realm, can travel and suck up anything that gets in their way at a speed of, get this, 5 million kilometers per hour. That's like a space tornado on steroids. During a collision or merge with a separate galaxy, both of these types of black holes could move to the outer parts of one galaxy and into another. Those supermassive black holes, with up to 10 billion times the sun's mass, are thought to be in the center of most galaxies. We don't have one in the Milky Way, but we also don't want one.
I don't like that. It's black holes now. We're on to black holes. We went to the Great Void, to the black hole, and it's like a super tornado. Ugh. I don't like it. Space really triggers me. And why I'm filming this video, I don't really know. Don't like anything to do with space. Anything larger than I am, and I'm pretty small, you know? I don't want to think about endless. Think about space. It doesn't end. There is no end. There's no end. There's no wall. It just goes on forever. It goes on forever and ever.
You wouldn't want to get caught on HD 189-733b.
Is this a planet?
On the outside, it looks similar to Earth, but any space traveler caught on this planet would have to endure the fatal weather with winds up to 4,500 miles per hour.
This guy's voice.
To put that in perspective, Tropical Cyclone Olivia, known for having the highest recorded wind speeds, clocked in at around 253 miles per hour. Doing the math, that's roughly 1/18th as strong. Even if we could sit through that, anytime we had to endure a rainstorm, we'd be succumbing to space torture.
I'm okay not living on this planet. Also, I don't want to live on a planet I can't pronounce the name. H183321, whatever. And any kind of wind almost blows me over, so this one would just blow me off the planet. Not safe for me, a little short person.
So the story told by astronaut Yang Liwei is amazing. It happened on an expedition in 2003. This astronaut was one of the first to be sent into space by the Chinese program. While sitting in his shuttle, he reported hearing a thump. According to his description, it was as if someone was outside the ship hitting it. It sounded like it was an iron object. But it didn't all stop there. The great thing about this story is that this man was not the only one to experience the sound of a blow to the ship. So did other Chinese astronauts between 2005 and 2008.
Wow, okay, astronauts in space hearing thumps on their ship like someone's knocking, trying to get in. Is there sound in space? Valid question, I feel. Is there sound in space? Space is a vacuum, so it generally doesn't carry sound. That's what I thought. So the fact that they heard a thump, pretty concerning. Pretty scary stuff.
These lights were seen by Leroy Chiao, an astronaut who commanded the International Space Station in 2005. What's interesting is that he wasn't the only one to have seen them. His crew confirmed the same thing. They were strange lights in space. The description Chiao gave was pyramid-shaped lights. The sighting occurred as the lights flew past them.
So lights in space. Okay, this makes a little more sense because you can see light in space, right? I don't want the answer. This has to be UFOs or aliens, or it's just like an explosion of a star. Like, this makes more sense to me. Anything to do with noise does not make sense to me. Anything to do with the great voids doesn't make sense to me. Snakes in space, can't get behind it. Giant babies in space makes sense because Stanley Kubrick told me about it. So now I understand.
Imagine a planet so dense that diamond is as abundant there as limestone is on Earth. Well, approximately 4,000 light years away, deep in the Auriga constellation, is WASP-12b, a planet where that is exactly the case. You'd better get in there quick though, because the planet is being literally devoured by its own sun. WASP-12b orbits its star at a distance of only 3.4 million kilometers. I know that sounds like a lot, but it's less than 1/44th of the distance between the Earth and our sun. As a result, the planet is being ripped to shreds.
Oh my god. Imagine if that was the case for Earth and our sun was just ripping us to shreds? No thanks. I'm also scared of the sun. Like, not scared of it, but I have thought, like, what if all of a sudden it explodes? You know, we would just be gone in like a second. Or like, what if the sun just like stopped? Then it would be complete darkness and we'd freeze to death. So, I'm telling you, Earth and space is a scary place, and I just rhymed and I didn't mean to. She's a poet and she doesn't even know it.
2015, we got more than we bargained for. That exact night, an asteroid flew by Earth,
hate asteroids.
which on its own is nothing new, as we constantly see a rain of asteroids that don't make it near our atmosphere. However, this asteroid was all but normal. Its orbit was just outside of our moon, but it was the shape that really blew people's minds. Once you take a good look at the surface of this asteroid that would have made a 6-mile-wide dent in our planet, you see it has a face.
Another face?
And not just any face. The face of a skull. A bad omen? Perhaps.
Oh, hell no. That thing is gonna circle around and come crash down and kill us. I'm calling it now. Can we knock on wood? I just knocked on wood. That is, asteroids and like meteors, they scare the crap out of me because again, they could just come down and, you know, we're done. The fact that it has a skull? Yeah, that thing means harm. It's coming right at us. It missed once, but it's circling back around and it's gonna, woo, no thank you.
But there's one in a galaxy about 2 billion light years away, which has a colossal magnetic field that's generating the highest known electric current in the universe. Thanks, nature. The galaxy in question is 3C303. and the current at its heart was discovered by scientists at the University of Toronto in 2011. At 1 quintillion amps, which is 1 with 18 zeros, the current is the equivalent of 1 trillion bolts of lightning, or enough to power all of Earth's light bulbs for 12 billion years. It's thought that the current is being driven out into space as far as 150,000 light years away. Considering that the Milky Way galaxy has a radius of only 100,000 light years, that's pretty damn far.
Wow, that's pretty damn strong. Its electric force can power how many light bulbs? A lot. Wow, and it was discovered here in Toronto by the University of Toronto. That's why I was clapping. Way to go for us Torontonians. Wow, that's cool. If there was a way to that we could harness that energy from whatever it was they were talking about, that'd be sick. You know, all our problems would be solved. Just take that energy and then just have so much energy all the time. I don't know what I'm trying to sound smart and scientific, but it's not working. So we're just gonna move on.
It's said that we look for faces in anything, on toast, in clouds, this dog's butt. But in 1976, scientists found a face on Mars. That's right. Once you take a close look at the rock formation it's found on, it's uncanny. It seems as if a mask resembling a human face had just been left behind by some ancient civilization waiting to be found. Though it may not look like it, the entire face is roughly 1 mile or 1.6 kilometers across.
That's a big face. That's terrifying. It literally looks like a face. Like maybe there was a colony on Mars. They had statues and stuff like that, and then something happened, and that's just the remnants of it, of the statue. Or it's some really big, giant human person that got buried on Mars, but that doesn't sound likely. So, but that is pretty creepy that there's a face on Mars. I think we gotta explore that more. I think there's more to it. We gotta dive in deeper there. I gotta know what it really is.
Black holes on their own are probably the scariest thing we've heard of as kids. To start, a black hole is a void that has a gravitational pull so strong that light can't even get out. It's the epitome of space mystery wrapped into a huge vortex of terror. Now, add to this the fact that astronomers have now found that there's such a thing as wandering black holes.
Oh no.
That's right. These terrifying vortexes, straight out of the interstellar realm, can travel and suck up anything that gets in their way at a speed of, get this, 5 million kilometers per hour.
We're done.
That's like a space
We're
tornado
done.
on steroids.
Oh my god, we're done. If that thing ever travels near us, we're done in like a second. I'm telling you, I do not like black holes. And it's like, oh yeah, it just travels. It travels really fast and it can suck things up really fast. But you know, there's no need to worry, right? God, that's what he needs to say to us. He needs to reassure us that we're not gonna die from these super massive traveling black holes.
Officially the darkest planet that NASA has ever discovered. It sits about 750 light years away in the constellation of Draco, orbiting the catchily named star GSC 03549 02811, also known as Kepler-1 to its friends. It's a gas giant with a similar composition to Jupiter and orbits Kepler-1 at a relatively intimate 5 million kilometers. TRES-2b reflects less than 1% of all light that hits it, which is less than coal or black acrylic paint. Adding to its spookiness, it's actually a mystery as to why the planet is so damn dark. One potential explanation is that the gases that make up its surface, vaporized sodium, potassium, or gaseous titanium oxide, absorb all the light.
That's pretty cool. That's not scary. That's cool. Just like a super dark, pitch black planet that no one knows anything about. That's cool. I'm here for it. As long as it's several light years away and, you know, poses no threat to Earth, then that's fine. It's just chilling. Why are we judging it on its color? Huh?
This cluster, which sits 320 million light years away, contains thousands of galaxies. But you can't actually see any of them here. Instead, what you're looking at is a 50 million degree cloud of intra-cluster gas. It's thought that the ghoulish form was created by a supermassive black hole at the cluster center, with the holes in the gas created by colossal explosions of energetic particles. Similarly spooky is the so-called ghost hand of God, a glowing green hand reaching through space to grab a red cloud of light. This eerie sight is actually a pulsar wind nebula, which was produced by the remnants of a star that exploded in a supernova millions of years ago.
Okay. There's so many words in this that I don't understand. They're like pulsar winds nebula. I don't know anything about space, so he makes it seem like it's spooky, so I'm gonna go that it's spooky. But I've heard about the ghost hand. It just looks eerie, like it's just a creepy, like zombie skeletal hand grabbing a red cloud. Looks terrifying. Does it pose a threat? Not sure. I don't think so. There's just a big bunch of super galactic words in there that I don't understand, but that's cool.
This super-Earth, aptly named 55 Cancri E, and some 40 light years away from Earth, is twice the size of our planet in radius, but has one side permanently facing its star. This means that on this planet, you have to travel to the other side to get a good night's sleep. The disturbing part about it is that on the day side, temperatures reach 4,400 degrees Fahrenheit, and though the night side is about half that, it's still an extremely hot planet in which there's no atmosphere or wind to regulate temperature.
Well, good thing we're not living there because we would die, so that means nothing to us. Literally, it's pretty, I find it interesting, okay? Again, as long as it doesn't pose a threat and it's far, far away and it's doing nothing, it's just chilling in its little orbit, then that's cool. You know, you guys can go investigate it. Also, I find it really cool how they, you know, have the ability to like check out what's out there like 4 billion light years away and stuff. Don't know how they do it, but they do. Okay, that's magic. I'm telling you right there. That is magic. How do they do it? I don't know. I really don't know. Little microscope, little sonar technology. I sound stupid, yeah.
At around 330 million light years across, it represents around 0.27% of the observable universe and is an incredibly large region of space. Often referred to as a supervoid, it's around 700 million light years away from us and is remarkably empty. Current estimates suggest it only has around 60 galaxies in it, whereas a similarly sized region in most
only
other
60
parts of the
galaxies
universe would be expected to have around 2,000 galaxies. To put this into perspective, if our galaxy, the Milky Way, was in the center, it would only have been in the past few decades that we've had any idea that other galaxies actually existed.
Bro, I'm so confused at everything he just said. All I know is that it's a void. And we gotta avoid it. Seriously. Wow, I don't know anything about space. And I thought I was pretty knowledgeable. I've done videos on space, but voids, spooky business, spooky business.
The star, which is around 1,470 light years from Earth, sometimes dims by as much as 22%, which raises the question of what could be blocking it. One of the leading theories is that there's a partially built Dyson sphere around it, with the civilization
I was thinking like Dyson
vacuum
vacuum.
already benefiting from the huge amounts of energy. Could the star's strange behavior be truly the result of an alien megastructure, or something we're yet to discover that causes the same effect? Only further studies will reveal the truth for sure.
Aliens! I just thought of that ancient aliens meme with the guy with the hair and he's like, aliens. Do aliens exist? Do you believe in aliens? Let me know in the comments below. I've done videos on aliens and I'm mind blown, okay? I think there's aliens among, actually I'm not gonna say that because people are like, she's a believer in aliens. I don't know what I believe, okay? Am I open to the idea of aliens? Sure, why not? Okay, because life is crazy. Our world is crazy, okay? We are on an Earth with just a spinning ball with a sun and other planets. Can somebody explain this? And we're just rotating around, seriously. Like if you really just sit there and think about it, you're like, what the heck is life? See, I could do a whole video of just me ranting that's just like, what is life? What is this? Like, we were just a thing of rock and then earth and water and animals and now us and evolution. I'm just throwing out words there that makes me sound smart. You guys put the puzzle pieces together. But think about it. We are like we're floating in the middle of this big thing and it's terrifying. And if you guys don't realize that, then do more research on space because it's crazy. Mind blown. Seriously. I'm scared. I have my heart palpitations right now. Like, the sun is just hot. I'm just going on. But like, no, I'm just, like literally, Chris, I'm gonna go crazy. Think about it. We're just on this floating object in the middle of nowhere. I'm like, I sound crazy.